Good evening, everyone. The time is 7:32. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Vice President Ferguson, could you do the invocation, please?
Good evening, everyone. Father God, we just thank you for your goodness, and we thank you for your mercy, and we thank you for your grace. We thank you for keeping us and our families, and we invite you into this meeting tonight, and we ask that you grace us with your peace and your wisdom as we meet. And Father God, I just ask that you will continue to bless the city citizens, the city employees, and all the participants of this meeting, in Jesus' name, and that you will continue to keep this city safe and even this nation. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen and amen.
Amen. Madam Clerk, could you do the roll call, please?
Councilwoman Fareed?
Here.
Councilwoman Guillaume?
Here.
Councilman Hairston? Councilman Herring?
Here.
Councilwoman Jones?
Here.
Council Vice President Angela Ferguson?
Here.
And Council President Derek Curtis.
Here. We do have a quorum. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Jones. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Fareed. Any discussion?
Yes, Council President, I would like to add extension of the application deadline as a topic of discussion.
For the tutor?
Yes, sorry, tutoring in the uniforms.
And the uniform.
Okay. Deadline extension. I also want to add a representative, Mr. Pruden, from Congressman Ivey's office, remarks at the beginning of our session. Is there any other discussion?
Yes, Council President.
Yes, Councilwoman Guillaume.
I would just like to make a brief statement on the remarks made on Haitian immigrants.
Okay.
And, Mr. President, were we going to get a presentation about 8805?
805.
On Glen Parkway.
The plan was to have that in citizens' comments, but if we want to have it before then, we can have it before then.
Plan was what?
To have it during citizens' comments.
Oh, okay, whenever. I just didn't see it on here.
But
So.
we can add that. That's
Either
fine. Presentation on 8805. Okay. So far I have Mr. Pruden, application deadline extension, Councilwoman Guillaume remarks, and then, but presentation on 8805. Is there any other discussion? Okay, so is everyone comfortable with Mr. Pruden going first, and we'll hold the other ones until after legislation? We good with that? All right. Any opposition to the amended agenda? Hearing none, by unanimous consent, the amended agenda is hereby adopted. All right, first on the agenda are the acceptance of the September the 3rd work session minutes, September the 4th special work session minutes, and the September the 10th public hearing. Is there a motion to adopt these minutes to adopt these minutes? Is there a motion? Would you guys like to table them until next? If you have not seen them? Okay, well, I'll motion that we table them till the next meeting. I understand. So this is something new. our acting council clerk is able to make our minutes available relatively quickly. In the past, we've received this in October, but she's able to produce these minutes relatively quickly. So if you haven't had a chance to look at them, I understand. So is there a second to table this into next month?
Second.
All right. Any opposition? Hearing none, we'll table the minutes until our October meetings. All right. With that, we will move into a presentation by Mr. Prudent, who is a representative from Congressman Ivey's office. Yes, if you just come up here, push the button to turn on the mic, introduce yourself. You on television, YouTube, and in person.
Good evening, Mayor Cross, Council President Curtis, members of the council, and Mr. Simpson. My name is Joseph Prudent. I'm here on behalf of Congressman Ivey. I am his Military and Veterans Affairs liaison and one of the field representatives for the congressman. Thank you so much for having me here this evening. I'll be very brief. Just want to cover a couple of items. The congressman wants you to be aware that he and his staff have worked tirelessly this summer to bring money back to Maryland's 4th District. I want to celebrate funding for gun violence or anti-gun violence, electric buses, safer streets, and we continue to work with federal agencies for our constituents and the concerns that get addressed to our office on a daily basis. As always, please just reach out to the office, reach out to the congressman, reach out to me if you have any needs. I'm sure most of you know Ethan Sweet from our office also. You can reach him at any time. In addition to the grant money that the congressman has been bringing back to the county, especially to municipalities, there is a program called an App Challenge, and I'll leave some flyers with you, but it's just what it sounds like. It's a chance for high school students to design and, build them actually, but assemble applications. I'll leave these flyers with you. And it gives them a chance to show off their abilities in this area. We don't get much of that in our area, but we know that there are high school students throughout Prince George's County, in particular Maryland's 4th District, who have the ability to address the needs we're going to be needing in the near future. AI is everywhere. We all know the phrase. Most of us have no clue how it works. We just know that we get pictures on the internet that aren't real pictures. There's a lot more to that. It's in our cars, it's in our televisions, and it's in our technology. So we want to give a chance for our students to show their abilities, show their skills. They'll submit to the congressman, then his staff will judge them, and the best one from there will go to a national competition at the House of Representatives. These people will get scholarship money, and more importantly, they'll get notoriety. Schools will be aware that Prince George's County has competitive skills in this area, and that's important to him and important to us. The second area I want to mention is the military academies. I'll leave you some flyers on those also. We have the 5 academies, and we are trying very hard to make sure that everyone in the county is aware of the ability to apply for a nomination from congressmen to get into the military academies. The congressman can appoint up to 15 people per slot at the military academies. His nomination is not always the last deciding factor. The military academies also have to decide, but except for, with one exception, you can't get into a military academy without a nomination from the congressman. I'll remind you that we have the Army at West Point, the Naval Academy at Annapolis, the Air Force Academy in Colorado, and the Coast Guard Academy in New York. The Merchant Marine Academy is the only one, That doesn't, the only one where you don't have to apply through your district. The previous one has to go through your district. And the Coast Guard is the only one where you don't need a congressional nomination and they don't accept them. So keep that in mind. When you talk to some of the youth in the high schools, I ask you to remember two things about going to a military academy. We know that you come out as an officer. We know you have a commitment to serve. We know you'll be in uniform. But what I want you to remember is that all of these schools are world-ranked schools. It's a $500,000 education for free. $500,000 for 4 years for free. All your bills and everything are paid. Your clothing, your food, obviously your clothing, your food, plus you get a stipend. But the other part of that is when you get out of the academy, when you graduate, you've got a guaranteed job. You're going to be a leader in a military service. Your commitment is for 5 years, but you're prepared for it. And after your 5 years are up, you can leave or you can stay in. So it's important to understand that there's another reason for applying for these schools other than going into the military. Again, I'll leave flyers on that, but you can also tell people just go to the Congressman's website, look for military academies, and fill out a brief application there. The deadline this year is October 18th. The interviews will be conducted early November, and by January, people will know whether they've been accepted or not. Next to last, I want to remind you about the Community Project Funding Grant. This is a new program where representatives can go to Congress and ask for grant money pretty much for anything. They're not going to approve all of them, but the requirements are a lot looser than in previous years. The congressman has already bought back several $1 million to our community in grant money. So if you have a need in the community and money is the answer, please pick up the phone, call the office, file a grant request. Again, Ethan Sweep is the one who handles most of the grant work in our office, but anybody there can help you. Don't not apply. The worst that's going to happen is you're not going to get it, but you might. So please take care of that also. And the last thing I want to leave you with is a little aside. The congressman is very focused on veterans. This month is Suicide Awareness Month, and we ask you to be aware of the prevention and the possibility of suicides in your neighbors and friends and relatives. Also in the state of Maryland, this is the first year where the law that was passed last year will take effect, and the governor will issue a proclamation naming September 30th as Veteran Suicide Awareness Day. This program will spread the word throughout the state and in high schools. It'll give information to the students about veterans' problems, but will also give them information that they can use if they have a need or they find a friend who has a need, and they can get some help before it boils over. At any rate, again, I thank you for allowing me some time at your microphone. I always enjoy coming to Glen Arden. I've worked with your mayor before and with your chief, and I look forward to coming back again. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Pruden. Are there any questions from council members?
Okay. Again, you can call our office at any time, and we'll be very happy to take care of you.
Council President?
Oh, let me get her down. Yes, Councilwoman Guillaume.
Thank you so much, Council President, and thank you so much, Mr. Pruden, for the presentation. I had a quick question. If we were to apply for one of the programs specifically around the veterans, like to support possibly a veterans event, how much would you say, give or take, would the turnaround be from grant application to assessing if the grant is worthy enough to get funding?
You know what? I apologize. I don't have that answer, but I will add it to my comments in the future. I do know that these grant requests are handled expeditiously. They turn around very quickly. I know that some have applied for them and received them this year already. So It's not a long, long time. But I will find out a better answer for you and get it back to the council president and to the mayor and to the city
Thank you.
manager so he can spread the word. Okay, yes.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Council,
Yes. The app challenge, is that only for the 4th district, or how many high schoolers can
The grants,
participate? The app challenge.
we are taking them for the 4th district, but they are nationwide.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there a certain amount that you're taking for the 4th? Is there a certain number?
Yes, I'll leave the flyers here. The number's on there, but if you can't remember the number and we run on flyers, go to the Congressman's website. On the home page, there's a link to the app challenge.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Mayor Cross.
Thank you, Mr. Pruden. And also thank to Congressman Glenn Ivey for the work that he's doing over there, particularly with the grants program. And as a 20-year retired veteran myself, I will tell you, ROTC is the way I went, but these academies are amazing development programs, and I thank you for District 4 stepping forward to reiterate the successfulness of the Veterans Program, particularly with the academies. And if Congressman Ivey is going to fight to get some of our folks in there, I think it's a very prudent and right opportunity as we lead into the next level wars. As we know, AI is very centric, and I thank you again for the work that you've done, sir, in the streets.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments?
Right.
Here none. Thank you, sir.
Thank you again for your time. I'll leave the flyers with Mr. Simpson.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Next up are the resolutions, legislation.
Okay.
1 second.
I will start with R05-2025, resolution authorizing purchase of 4 police vehicles from New Holland Auto Group. The sponsor is Derek Curtis, the council president. The co-sponsor is at the request of the administration. It was introduced on September 3rd. It was at the public hearing on September 10th, and we are discussing it today here on September 16th. Whereas the city's administration has determined that it is in the public's best interest to authorize the Glenarden Police Department to purchase 4 new vehicles to increase the effectiveness of the department, and whereas the administration seeks the council's approval to authorize the purchase of the police vehicle within the current budget under line item 8367-30-80-10, and whereas it is necessary to purchase 4 police vehicles from New Holland Auto Group as attached in Exhibit A at a price of $175,800 as attached in Exhibit A, and whereas New Holland Auto Group has been a provider of police vehicles for the city of Glenarden since 2021, therefore meets the requirements established in Charter Section 818C. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of Glenarden, Maryland, sitting in regular session the 16th day of September 2024 as follows. Number 1, that the purchase of 4 Dodge Durango police pursuit vehicles from New Holland Auto Group for a total amount of $175,800 per the invoice as attached as Exhibit A to this resolution, be it and is hereby approved, and 2, payment for the vehicle shall be made from line item 8367-30-80-10, support equipment, police cars under capital project function within the fiscal budget, and 3, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any opposition?
Yes, Mr. President, I ask for a voice vote.
Okay, thank you. And Council Clerk? Madam Clerk, could you do a voice vote, please?
Sure. Okay. Councilwoman Fareed?
Yes.
Councilwoman Guillaume,
Yes.
Councilman Herring,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Jones,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferguson,
Yes.
and Council President Curtis.
Yes. All right. This resolution passes. Thank you. Next up is R-06-2025, resolution authorizing the purchase of Global Safety LLC for the outfitting of 4 police cars. Madam Clerk?
Okay. Whereas the City of Glenarden, Maryland maintains a police department for the protection of public health, safety, and welfare of its citizens, and whereas to protect the public health, safety, and welfare, the police department must maintain an adequate number of police vehicles along with the necessary equipment for each vehicle, and whereas 4 police vehicles are in need of outfitting, such as lights, sirens, and transport compartments to properly serve the needs of the police department. And whereas Global Public Safety LLC has submitted a quote for the purchase of equipment for 4 police vehicles attached hereto as Exhibit A. Whereas Section 818 of the city charter requires that the city engage in a competitive bidding process for the procurement of goods and services with an estimated cost exceeding $2,000, except that whenever a federal, state, county, or local government or any agency thereof whose purchasing policies are comparable to those of the city has conducted a bid and awarding a contract, the city may purchase by contract the bid item at the bid price from the successful bidder, subject to the approval of the mayor and the council. And whereas the state of Maryland has conducted a competitive bidding process and awarded a contract to the Global Public Safety LLC for the purchase of police equipment vehicles, and whereas the state of Maryland's purchasing policies are comparable to those of the city, therefore meeting the requirements established in Section 818C, and now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Glenarden, sitting in regular session the 16th day of September 2024, has determined that 1, the police department is hereby authorized to purchase services and equipment from Global Public Safety LLC, listed in Exhibit A, and in the amount of $71,924.60. 2, funding will come from the Capital Project Fund, account line item 8367-30-80-10. 3, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage. Excuse me.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to adopt this agenda? Motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, could you just go forward with the voice vote, please?
Sure. Councilwoman Fareed,
Yes.
Councilwoman Guillaume,
Yes.
Councilman Herring,
Abstain.
okay, Councilwoman Jones,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferguson,
Yes.
and Council President Curtis.
Yes. All right. Next is R-07-2025, a resolution authorizing agreement with Lexipol to implement police training and procedures. Madam Clerk?
Okay. Sponsored by Derek Curtis, the second council president, at the request of the administration, a resolution to authorize an agreement with Lexipol to implement police training and procedures. Excuse me. Whereas the administration has determined that it is in the public's best interest to authorize an agreement with Lexipol to update police department policy manuals, conduct police trainings, and implement newly adopted policies, and whereas Lexipol will provide a streamlined process to ensure that the Glenarden Police Department policies are compliant with new state and federal regulations, as well as provide training for new officers and continuing education for seasoned officers. And whereas the previously agreed upon expenditures were allocated for the complete implementation of the policy manual, ensuring full compliance with federal regulations, Maryland state laws, and Title 12 of the Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services, Subtitle 04, Police Training and Standards Commission, Chapter 9, Police Accountability Boards and Administrative Charging Committees, as well as the Maryland statewide police disciplinary matrix. Whereas there remains an outstanding balance of $11,866.20, representing the actual annual subscription cost for the policy manual and access to Police One Academy, which will be a recurring annual expense that must be accounted for in the future budgets. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Glenarden, sitting in regular session this 16th day of September 2024, has determined that, 1, that the agreement with Lexapol for a total amount of $11,866.20 per the proposal is hereby approved. Payment for the police training and policy updates shall be made from conference and training for $11,866.20. This resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Any discussion? Any opposition?
Mr. President, I ask for a voice vote.
Okay. Madam Clerk?
Okay. All right, Councilwoman Fareed?
Yes.
Okay. Councilwoman Guillaume?
Yes.
Councilman Herring?
Abstain.
Councilwoman Jones?
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferguson?
Yes.
Council President Curtis?
Yes. Okay. Next up is R-08-2025, a resolution authorizing the purchase of electronic live scan fingerprinting equipment for the City of Glenarden Police Department. Madam Clerk?
Whereas the City of Glenarden Police Department is authorized to provide fingerprinting service by the State of Maryland and the U.S. Department of Justice for the purpose of providing criminal history reports for the Glenarden Police Department and the general public as prescribed by law, and whereas the City of Glenarden has provided fingerprinting services for the general public as a community service for persons required by law to be fingerprinted for specific jobs, and whereas Maryland state law requires the use of approved equipment and vendors when using the live scan system to provide fingerprinting services to the general public, and whereas the current live scanning equipment used by the Glenarden Police Department has become outdated and is no longer working as required to provide live scan and fingerprinting services to the Glenarden Police Department and the general public at large, and whereas the Glenarden Police Department has attempted to have the equipment serviced and repaired on several occasions with little success from the vendor or NTI Computer Services. Whereas the Glenarden Police Department has received 2 quotes for live scan equipment, training, and installation, and has selected Applied Technology Services, who provided the best quote for live scan equipment at $19,556. And whereas Section 818 of the City Charter requires that the city engage in a competitive bidding process for the procurement of goods and services with an estimated cost exceeding $2,000, except that whenever a federal, state, county, or local government or any agency thereof whose purchasing policies are comparable to those of the city has conducted a bid and awarded a contract, the city may purchase by contract the bid item at the bid price from the successful bidder, subject to the approval of the mayor and the council. And whereas the state of Maryland has conducted a competitive bidding process and awarded a contract to Applied Technology Services, Inc. for the purchase of hardware and equipment for fingerprinting, and whereas the state of Maryland's purchasing policies are comparable to those of the city, therefore meeting the requirements established in Section 818C, And whereas the Glen Ardent Police Department is requesting that the funds to purchase new live scan equipment come from the remaining balance of the American Rescue Plan funds. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Glen Ardent, sitting in regular session this 16th day of September 2024, has determined that the agreement with Applied Technology Services to purchase live scan fingerprinting equipment for a total amount of $19,556 per the proposal is hereby approved. Payment for the fingerprinting equipment shall be made from the ARPA budget line item 7612-20-38-10. This resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, could you do a voice vote, please?
Okay, Councilwoman Fareed?
Yes.
Okay, Councilwoman Guillaume?
Yes.
Councilman Herring?
Abstain.
Councilwoman Jones?
Yes.
Councilwoman, excuse me, Ferguson?
Yes. Yes.
And Council President Curtis.
Yes. All right, this resolution is adopted. Final resolution, R-09-2025, a resolution of no confidence in the mayor of the city of Glenarden. Madam Clerk?
Whereas the city's administration has determined that it is in the public's best interest to authorize the Glenarden Police Department, oh, I'm sorry. I'm at the wrong one.
I'll do it. It's fine. All right, resolution R-09-2025. The sponsor is the City Council. The date of introduction was September the 3rd. The public hearing was held on September the 10th, and it's been read today in regular session, September the 16th. Whereas on October 18th, 2021, after special runoff election, Mrs. Kashina A. Cross was sworn into a 4-year term as mayor of the city of Glenarden when she became the 18th mayor of the city's 85-year history. And whereas on November 21st, 2022, the council approved R-15-2023, a resolution to censor Mayor Cross. And whereas R-15-2023 expressly requested that the mayor cease and desist any actions against employees that are in violation of the City of Glenarden's personnel manual, and to act in good faith in dealing with employees who are essential to the daily operations and prosperity of the City of Glenarden, and to cease and desist spreading untruths about the city elected officials, and to comply with the city's charter and code. And whereas since the passage of R-15-2023, the mayor has allegedly attempted to disrupt or redirect state funding to build a police station for the Glenarden Police Department by sending a unilateral and unauthorized letter dated October 13, 2023 to Senator Guy Gazon, did I say that right? Mm-hmm. Chair of the Senate Budget and Taxation Committee of the Maryland General Assembly. And 2, by routinely placing the name of her private business organization, Collective Impacts Foundation Corporation, on flyers with the seal of the City of Glenarden and posted them to the city's website. 3, wrongfully withheld her check signing authority. 4, refused to staff certain standing committees. 5, threatened staff members' compensation and used abusive or vulgar language. 6, attempted to obtain compensation on or about 11 November the 16th, 2023, from the city for her spouse's business, Cross Entertainment LLC, in support of the Gold Room event. And 7, filed false charges against council president, resulting in his false imprisonment. And whereas the council finds that the mayor has apparently continued to deal inappropriately with officials and employees, failed to comply with the city's charter and code, has misappropriated the city logo, has worked in conflict with the will of the council by impairing its ability to secure state funding, and has not acted in the best interests of the city. And whereas pursuant to Section 4, Rules of Debate of the council rules initially adopted by R-03-2018, it states that the rules of parliamentary practice and procedures are set forth in the latest edition of Robert Rules of Order, shall govern the city council in all cases to which they are applicable and not in conflict with these city council rules of procedures. And whereas, according to the Roberts Rules Association, the term vote of no confidence is not used or defined in Roberts Rules of Order, and there's no mention of any motion for such a vote. However, this does not mean that an assembly cannot adopt a motion if it wishes, expressing either its confidence or lack of confidence in any of its officers or subordinate boards or committees. And any such motion would simply be a main motion. It would have no effect other than to express the Assembly's views concerning the matter, and a vote of no confidence does not remove an officer from office. And whereas, pursuant to Section 308 of the City Charter, a resolution means a formal expression of opinion, will, or intent of the council adopted by a vote of the council, and unless otherwise required by law, is without the force of an ordinance, and a resolution may be introduced by any council member at any regular or special meeting of the council, and unless otherwise required by law, a resolution, skipped a line, may be enacted by the council only after a public hearing has been held, and a resolution may not be passed on the same day as a public hearing, but may be passed at a regular or special meeting of the council held not less than 6 days after the public hearing, and a resolution shall be enacted by the affirmative vote of at least 4 members of the council. And whereas, according to the motion of no confidence, Wikimedia Foundation, Inc., the 26th June 2024, motion of no confidence, a motion or vote of no confidence is a formal expression by a deliberative body as to whether an office holder is deemed fit to continue to occupy their office. And whereas Wikipedia Supra, further states that a censure motion is different from a no confidence motion, and dependent on the constitution or charter of the body concerned, no confidence may lead to the dismissal of the position holders, but on the other hand, censure is meant to show disapproval and does not result in the resignation of office holders, and the motion of censure may be against an individual or group of office holders. And whereas the council finds that the mayor's actions have generally caused unrest and discord within the city and elsewhere across the state, damaging Glenarden's reputation and undermining the social fabric of our community. And whereas, notwithstanding the recall process found in 713C of the city charter, pursuant to 304 of the LG article of the Maryland Annotated Code, the legislative body of a municipality may initiate a proposed amendment in the municipal charter by a resolution to change or abolish an office created by said charter, or otherwise alter the structure of the municipal government that, except as otherwise provided in Subtitle 3 of Title 4, is adopted in the same manner as other resolutions in the municipality by a majority of all the individuals elected in the legislative body. And whereas in Town of Glenarden versus Bromery 257, Maryland 1927, 1970, the Supreme Court of Maryland sided with approval of treatise by Charles Rhine, municipal law asserting that a legislature at any time may diminish the term of or entirely abolish an elected office. The law of local government operations, subsection 13.14, 1980, stating that abolishing an office is a legislative act and a municipal legislative body may permanently or temporarily abolish offices created by charter amendment during a term of office for any legitimate reason. Just scrolling. Therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Glenarden hereby declares and express its lack of confidence in the mayor's ability to lead and fulfill the responsibilities of the office, and said governing body continues to be dissatisfied with the conduct, professional fitness, and lack of positive leadership displayed by Mayor Christina A. Cross. And be it further resolved that the City Council of the City of Glenarden urges the mayor to resign immediately in order to restore order, trust, and effective governance to the City of Glenarden. And be it finally resolved by the Council of the City of Glenarden, sitting in a regular session the 16th day of September 2024, that a copy of this resolution be delivered to the mayor and made available to the public and the media to ensure full transparency and accountability. This resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yes, Council President.
Councilman Herring.
Yeah, while I do agree with this resolution, I do not have any confidence in the mayor to run the city government. You know, I've sat here and I've watched, you know, for the last 3 years, you know, as, you know, we've done what we could to move this government forward while, you know, the mayor's been out and about outside the city of Glenarden. I think the biggest issue I have is that we got $4 million from the federal government and the mayor didn't give not one recommendation on how to spend it on the citizens in Glenarden. Every idea, every action that came with that $4 million came from this council. But I also feel that we need to hold others to the same standard that we're holding the mayor to. I feel that we have a situation where information was leaked out of this building to another agency that got somebody terminated from their job. And I just don't feel it's right that we are sitting here holding the mayor to this standard while we're not investigating as a council to find out who did that. This person is a single parent. She's raising a son. She now has no job. And I would like to know why personnel information that was obtained from this government was sent to another agency and got this person terminated. And I think that we as need to hold whoever that was just as responsible. I mean, hold that as accountable as we're trying to hold the mayor. And I honestly believe that, you know, what's good for one is good for all. So I just wanted to say that before we voted. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Vice President Ferguson?
I just wanted to say for the record that the last information release concerning someone being released and losing their job, this is the first I'm hearing about it, so I'm not aware of that. Maybe we could look into it further. Thank you.
Okay. But the two things are separate. So I take it we could take that up another time.
I'm not saying take it up now. I'm just saying that's just my feelings right now.
Okay. All right.
I'm not saying we got to address it now. No.
Okay.
That's just my statement.
Is there any other discussion? And I'll just say that while it's taken us a long time to get to this point, we don't present this resolution or take it lightly to the need to present this resolution. We felt, at least in my opinion, necessary to move forward. So with that, if there's no other comments, we'll go to a voice vote. Madam Clerk?
Councilwoman Fareed,
Yes.
Councilwoman Guillaume,
Yes.
Councilman Herring,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Jones,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferguson,
Yes.
Council President Curtis.
Yes. All right. This resolution is adopted.
Yes. Is that Councilman Guillaume?
All right. Next, we decide to go with the amendments. First up is the presentation for 8805. I'm sorry, and what's your name? Mr. Ziad. If you could go to the podium, press the button for the mic and state your name, and then the council will hear you.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council President, and members of the Council. My name is Ziad Shalabi. I'm the owner of 8805 Glenarden Parkway, known as Lots 3 and 4. I have we filed for a building permit with the county, Prince George's County, and I have submitted to the City of Glenarden copies of the site plan as well as the proposed building, which is a single-family house, 2-story, with a garage as well as a basement. Square footage is about 1,200 square foot floor area. And we hopefully we will get a permit from the county, and we'll submit it to the city so that we can get also an approval from the city as well to be able to build a house. I'll be more than happy to answer any question on the specs, location that the council has.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the council?
Mr. President, could you pull up his submission? I think he sent us a PowerPoint that shows a layout of the house.
The one that was sent by Mr. Green?
Yes. Yes, Mr. Green sent it, I think, the last work session.
I'm looking at Ryan Holmes.
I think it's an email from Mr. Green.
I have 8807. I don't have 8805. Mr. Green, when did you send that email? Or if you could forward it real quick. And you want to display it?
Yes, 'cause I'm going to ask him a question.
Okay.
September 12th.
You're talking about this?
Is that it? Yes.
Okay. All right. Let me just share this. I don't think there's any personal identifier. Sure. She want to ask a question.
So you said the square foot on that, on the lot is 1,200 square feet, or the house is?
The house is 1,200 square
And how many
feet.
square feet is the lot?
The lot is 6,600 square feet.
600?
6,600 square feet.
6,600, thank you.
35.
All right.
Yes.
Share. Good. I'm sorry. That was the wrong thing. Oh, no. It was right.
Yeah, that's it. Mhm.
All right.
That's the one.
If you go down to the things like the last, it has the actual,
This?
nope, or maybe go up.
We went for the plan, the floor plan?
Yeah. No, not the floor plan, the actual layout that has the dimensions. Scroll up. That one right there.
The proposed site plan?
Yeah. hmm Yeah.
Just make it bigger. Hold on 1 second. And I'll present it.
So when you say, you might, Mr. President,
Go ahead.
so when you say 6,600 square feet, that's from front to back?
That's the lot area
Right.
from all sides, yes.
Yes, but a majority, I mean, most of that is going front, because it isn't very wide.
It is, it's actually, the lot is 60 feet wide,
And how wide is the house?
and the house is 30 feet wide.
So that'll give you,
It gives me 8 feet on one side and 22 feet on another.
okay, so the 22 feet is on the side
On,
by 8807.
the 22 feet on this side, the
Yes,
8
by
feet on this
8807.
side. Looking at the sketch,
Yes.
the 8 feet on the right-hand side next to 8807, and the 22 on the other side. The setback, I'm referring to the setback. Do you want me to go up?
Yeah,
to
go up there and show me what you're talking about, because I'm
Sure, no problem. So this is Glen Arden Parkway.
right.
Looking at it from the street. This side is the 8 feet, this side is the 22 feet.
There's 20,
And if it's an issue, if it's a concern, we have the ability to slide it further. Because the setback requirements, the minimum is 8 feet, the zoning requirements is 8 on one side and 7 on the other side. So we have the freedom to do that.
even with 20 feet, it's still going to be close to the house on your left-hand side. If it's on that side, yes.
Well, it's going to be quite a bit, it's quite a distance away from that house. 22 feet is a lot of distance.
How wide is the actual house? The house is what?
This one is 30.
Yes, 30.
Correct.
And the whole lot is 60.
60 feet, correct.
So no sign right there. I just can't see. I mean, the other house that we have an issue with where it's like right up
This
next
is
to this
totally
house.
different than the other.
I can't see because right now I know at that property they have like a patio out there. Is that their property or is that part of your property?
Part of mine,
But their patio is part of your property. So you're going to take the patio.
correct.
That's what I thought. Okay. So you're going to. Okay. And it's going to be similar to the house that's already there.
It's a two-story with a basement. Some of the houses, you want me to move over there or you?
You can come back to the mic so people online can hear you, please.
So this is a two-story with a basement. The houses in the area, or around the area, is a mix. Some of them are split foyers, smaller house, but there are some two stories also. So it will blend in with the, and I got the, in the submission, kind of like a colored 3D, just so you can get a feel of what the house is going to look like.
So that's like the one that's there.
No, it's
The one that's
totally-
there, 8807, is a basement with 2 stories, right?
No. It's a 3 levels. There's no basement. That's a ground floor. When I say basement, I refer to below grade or partially below grade.
Oh, okay.
So he's going to dig in the ground.
Yeah.
Yes, there will be about, it's like 3 to 4 feet below grade, just to meet the natural topography of the site. Because if you notice, the lot slopes from left to right, slopes down. So we use that to. We could do, in this case, it won't be a total walkout, it will be a partial walkout, if you will.
So you're, I don't even consider a 3 to 4 foot, you're digging down 3 to 4 feet and you consider that a basement?
The basement height is typically 8 feet.
I know.
So that'll be a crawl space.
No, not a crawl
no.
space.
So 4, they're digging, but the way the slope is, it's going to, they're digging 4 feet, but the total basement would be 8 feet. So part of the basement would be above ground. So that's why I say it might be, it's a partial
Yeah.
walkout.
Okay, so it's really just another level. I mean, you can call it a basement if you want to.
It's
But-
called a basement, but
You
that's
call
how
it a
they call
basement.
it.
Split level, is that what they call it? Is that?
No, the split level is completely different.
Split foyer or split level when you have 2 levels with a foyer,
Oh, okay.
goes up and down.
Okay. So, okay, and so has the resident been notified that you're going to take up that patio?
I have spoken with, not recently, I have met with the owner when he bought the house, and I've indicated to him that this is on my property, and at one point we will need to take it out. So he's aware of it. I think it was like 3 years ago or something when he purchased the house. And I have his name if you wanted to for the records.
No, I don't need it.
Are there, I'm sorry.
I'm done.
I have another question.
Councilman Jones?
So this property, is it going to be a rental property, or is this something that you're going to be living in?
Well, it hasn't been decided yet. I don't want to say it's going to be a rental property or an investment property. I haven't made a decision yet on that one. But
Okay.
I might, it's very likely that I might keep this property, personally.
Well, even if you keep it, you can still use it as a rental property. As a rental property in Prince George's County, you'd have to get a permit to do so.
Absolutely. If it's to be rented, it will need a rental license. But I haven't made that decision yet. I was telling Mr. Green, the house next door, my daughter has decided to purchase it and live in, my own daughter. So there might be a family member also over there, another family member.
Well, living in that area myself, there are a lot of the neighbors in that area. When that 8807 came up, they were very, very dissatisfied with how that came up and how that came about. Of course, what happened is what happened. That's why we're trying to deal with this now, you know. But if this house is going to be sitting up against, well, you're already
No.
taking somebody the property next to. The house on First Street butts up to that property. So you're saying the property where his patio is belongs to you also?
A good portion of it is yes.
So we're going to, just like we did the gentleman on Second Street where the house at 8807 came up and blocked his entire...
No, that's not going to be the case. What I'm saying is, let's say I built we finished construction of this house. And I want to put a fence on between this property and the neighbor property. I have to remove a good section of his patio, his concrete patio, to put my fence. It is not my fault that his house is right next to or close to his own property. My property line, if I wanted to put my fence where my property line is, I have to remove, I would say, like 80% of his patio.
And that'll be right up to his window, like this other house is right up to those.
I have discussed with him some kind of an arrangement where I move my fence, but we haven't reached an agreement. That was when he purchased his house. So we may discuss that with him also as well. But the property line is where the property line. I can't change them.
And I know the county also gives you so many feet before you can get up on top of somebody's property line also, so.
The setback is for a primary structure from the property line. We are way beyond that. We are way beyond that minimum requirements on that side. But my point I'm trying to make is, if I were to put a fence on my property line, the dividing line between my property and his property, his patio has to be removed. Put a fence, not a structure, a fence.
But the fence can't be up on the property line either. They always ask you to be like 2 or 3.
No, it can be within 6 inches from the property
Right.
line. Yeah.
6 to 8 inches
Yeah,
away from the
yeah.
property line.
Yeah, I never put a fence on the property line because of, a question, usually. But still, even with that 8 inches or 6 inches, you're still going to have to remove that patio. But I'm not going to do it until I discuss it with him again and see if we can find a way so we can be neighborly. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm done.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments from Council Alley? I don't
Yes, Council
see
President, my
anybody
hand.
online. Let me just stop
My
sharing.
hand is Council President.
All right, 1 second. Mr. Gray, could you turn up the volume? We could barely hear the people online. All right, Councilwoman Guillaume, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Council President. I had a
One
question.
second. 1 second, Councilwoman Guillaume. We can barely hear you. Mr. Gray, could you just confirm that you turning it up?
Yes, turn it up.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Mr. Gray?
Right now.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, that's good. Thank you.
Thank you. I had a question in regards to the height of the structure. I have a few comments, but in regards to the height of the structure, is the height of the new proposed structure to be this very same height as the other structure that was deemed problematic by so many neighbors?
No, it's not. This is not going to be the same height as the other house. It's not. And it's going to be, no. And it will be, I can't give you an exact number, but approximately, I would say about 25 to 27 feet, plus or minus,
Yeah. So
which
because
is way lower than the other one.
Yeah, it looks lower, but I'm looking at rendering, so it looks lower on my end. So thank you for that. I do have a few comments. I would like for folks to really look at what's happening right now, because here it is, we have someone who owns the land, and they are, in my opinion, doing their due diligence by reaching out, number one, through all the proper channels and even coming to us, unlike the prior situation. And we also have this person, again, I guess I'm quoting him, in the spirit of being neighborly, reaching out to the neighbor or neighbors who they will be living by should they be permitted to do so. That's one. I wouldn't want us to look at this situation and lump this gentleman with everybody else or the other entity that had that other structure that was problematic, because I don't necessarily think that's fair. And I also want to say this, that this person, at least from what he's presented to us, and it's being recorded, and it also has, I believe he says he has records and everything that he can present to us. He has shown, or stated at least, that his property line is his property line. Now, if anyone, whether it's been a long-standing citizen or a citizen who purchased a home prior to this gentleman a year or so ago, they should know their property line. And if their property line exceeds the property line that was given to them and protrudes into another person's property line, whether it's a future home landowner or not, we cannot, in my opinion, we cannot fault this person who's trying to build this new construction for trying to actually build a fence on their property line. Now, I think it's only right for them to do what they are proposing to do, should they be permitted to do so, because again, it's their property line. And if I'm sure if it were me, at least, if I had built something that was bumping into my neighbor's property line, and then my neighbor moved, and then a new person comes in and says, hey, your deck, your patio, your whatever it is actually on my property line. As much as I wouldn't want to deal with it, I'd have to own up to it because legally it's their property line. So I just want to say that, and I want to say to, very good questions that were asked by my colleagues, very good responses. I believe that I heard from the person who is presenting right now, but I just would like for us to be cautious at not lumping every person who's coming in to build as if they're the prior person who didn't do their due diligence in coming to us in the first place. That's all I want. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Fareed, did you still have a comment?
Councilwoman Guillaume covered it. Thank you.
Councilwoman Jones?
Okay, so for clarity's sake, the person that owns 8807, isn't that part of you, a person that's part of your family also?
Yes, he's a relative of mine. Yes.
He's a relative. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Councilman Harry?
Yes, I'd like to ask a question. So did you say the owner of that property has recently purchased that property?
Which property?
Not 8807, but the one on the other side.
I don't know the exact date, but it was like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Don't hold me to that, but it was something like that.
Okay. I mean, I just was wondering
I think
because
it was prior to COVID, just so we can use that as a sort of a reference.
And the owner that was there previously, was that patio there previously?
Yes.
When the original owner had it there?
Not, well, I actually met a little history. I met the previous owner who bought it and renovated it and worked on it. It was it needed a lot of work. I met with him, had discussions about it. He said, I might live in it, might sell it. I said, okay. So when I found out that it was sold, I contacted the owner, who I think is still the current owner, and I told him, did you do a survey of your property? Do you know that this patio is, a good portion of it is on my property? So I think he did afterwards, and we had discussions about some kind of arrangements, some kind of. So I can't sell him a portion of my property so he can keep it. It's not the proper way. But anyway, we did not get to a resolution on that.
Okay. I mean, I was just wondering because usually if you're on a piece of property longer than so many years, you can actually enact adverse possession and take possession of the property if you maintained it for a certain number of years. I was wondering how long they had been on that piece of property.
It's not adverse possession in this case does not apply. If that's
Doesn't
what you're
apply.
referring to.
Okay.
Because he's aware of, I did not acquiesce to him being there from the day he moved in.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Are you done?
I'm done, yes.
All right.
Also, I remember when the kind of, like I said, I live in the area, so I kind of see what's going on. When that person moved in that house on the corner at First Street, he cleaned all of that property because we were always trying to get code enforcement to make sure that whoever owned that property cleaned the bamboo off of it because it was, and then the property was always overgrown. So periodically, whoever owned it at that time, he came in and cleaned it. But that guy in the gray house, he did clean that property all the way to where you see it cleaned out today. He cleaned all of that up. So
Well, I would beg to differ. The whole area was wooded. I got a call from code enforcement years ago about people throwing trash, and I ended up removing all that bamboo and clearing it up. He, in turn, would occasionally cut the grass. So just so we can set the record straight
I saw him.
on who cleared and removed all the trees and who is cutting grass. So
I just have a curious question. How long have you owned the property?
I think 2017 or 16, something like that. And again, those dates don't, for the record, I'm not.
Approximately, that's
Okay.
fine. All right. Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
You guys have a great evening. Thank you.
You too. And Mr. Green will get back to you.
Okay, so there will be a vote on the motion?
There's no
motion on the floor.
Oh, so Mr. Green, can you remind me, the motion is to, I'm sorry.
He hasn't been to the county yet.
Yours is still with the county, correct? Go ahead.
See, I still with the county. I kind of held off onto that until I know what the city is going to make a decision on.
I saw that
It was
email.
kind of like, you stop, don't do anything, come before the city, get the consent and approval from the city. So that's why I'm kind of like waiting for your decision.
I remember. Thank you. Thanks for reminding me.
Thank you.
So then there is a decision on the floor. Well, because I agree, I wouldn't want him to go to the county and spend money on that process if the city is not going to approve the plans. Is it the plans, Mr. Green, or what are we approving?
Opening the curb.
Permit to do work in the city right of way.
Okay.
Including utilities and extension and all of that.
And including the curb cut.
They have to open up the curb to connect the utilities.
No, all right. So with that, I do put forth a motion to vote on the approval of the work getting started and the curb cut.
Mr. President,
Councilmember Harris.
I would like to ask that we consult legal on this before we do anything.
Okay.
I actually really think we need to talk to our attorney to see what rights we actually have, and if we're required to. I just think that it's something we should do before we make a decision like this.
Could you help me understand? I'm not disagreeing with you, but you help me understand what do you mean by what rights do we have?
Are we required to open up the curb, or or can we not open up the curb? If we say no, what's the next step? Will we be sued? What? We need to get some legal advice on what the actions that we make, whether we open up the curb or we keep it closed. What is the legal ramification of saying that and doing that?
Okay. So you're proposing that we table the decision until we've consulted with the attorney?
Yes.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. I don't think.
You really don't need a.
Yeah, I don't need a vote for a table. Okay. So then, Mr. Green, Mr. Simpson, we'll just have to kind of work expeditiously to reach out to our attorney to get the opinion on the opening of the curb cut. If we say yes or if we say no,
Yeah,
legal ramifications.
I would like to have a meet with this council so that we can all discuss it with him. If they want to do it, if we want to do it a Zoom meeting or something.
Okay. All right. And yes. You can go back to the podium and just make sure you push the button so it. Okay.
Well, I understand whatever you guys wanted to do and discuss is fine, but I would ask that you do it kind of in an expeditious way. I filed this request with the city of Glenarden, I would say probably back in February of this year. And I just got the hearing today. So I don't want to be waiting also. I mean, the process with the county is on hold until I get a decision from you. I can't proceed until I know what you guys wanted to do. So please, that's all I ask. Whatever it is, just let me know in a kind of a expeditious way.
I completely understand. Those are going to be my next comment, so you just beat me to it.
Thank you.
So we could just reach out to our attorney, and we can meet rather quickly via Zoom, and then go from there. And then you'll hear from Mr. Green.
Thank you. I've been dealing with him all along anyway.
Okay.
You guys have a great evening.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You guys.
All right, next was the application deadline extension. Councilwoman Fareed.
Yes, Council President. So we had deadlines set for September 13th for the tutoring and educational assistance program, as well as for the uniform assistance program. To date, we have not used that full amount of funding. And we know just anecdotally that some people are still gathering their documentation or had not heard about it. And so we would like to extend the deadline until the end of September to allow for additional people to get time in. Mr. Simpson has the exact numbers around how many people have applied and the corresponding amounts. If that's something that we need to know in order to make a decision.
I don't think so, but I mean, if you wanted to share, I think the extension is good enough. But Mr. Simpson.
Good evening. We currently, with the tutoring, it looks as though we have 55 that are in process, 16 applications that have been approved, and 12 applications to be processed, which would give us the 83 for the tutoring. The uniforms, we currently have 20 in process for verification and 27 orders completed through the uniforms. The numbers are being calculated, and I can provide those exact numbers once that calculation has been completed.
You say 55, 16, and what's the other one for?
12. 12 applications that are being processed, 55, or that are inside the process, 55 that are in process, 16 have been approved for the tutoring.
All right, 16 approved, 55 in the process, 12 is just starting.
Yes.
Okay. But that'll put us over the never mind. I answered my own question in my head. Thank you.
Yes, and then the final numbers as far as exactly how much money is being spent is being calculated. I can
Okay.
get that to you.
All right. And then for the uniforms is 27 completed,
orders completed, and 20 in process.
Okay. All right. And the calculation dollars have been committed. All right. All right. I believe there's a motion on the floor to extend the date. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any opposition?
Mr. President, what is the date?
The date, so it'll be September the 30th will be the extension. Is that enough time, Councilwoman Fareed?
Yes, and I think we can always revisit it if we decide we want to, but can we put a time also, because I noticed this past Friday, and so this is directed to you, Mr. Simpson, this past Friday when I went in just to see if the application was still open or not, it was not yet 5 o'clock and the uniform application was closed. So we're gonna say September 30th, we need to set a time.
To 5 p.m., we'll make the adjustment.
And how do we plan on communicating this to all residents?
So I believe the attorney said that if we say it in a public meeting, that is the notice. But we can confirm.
That's fine. I just wanted to see so people can have the full benefits of it. Because if I'm a citizen and I went to get a uniform at, let's say, 3 o'clock and it was already closed, I'm like, oh, I missed the deadline. How am I then going to be informed to say, oh, it's been extended, I can go back and get my child a uniform? And they missed this meeting. So we're going to post it on the website, on, I guess, the marquee. And this public hearing, it's being recorded, so. Are you good with that, Councilwoman Fareed? Do you want any other kind of notification?
No, I think that this is sufficient. I think when we look at the cost of doing another mailing, which, I think that's another topic that we should discuss. Mailings are quite expensive. I'm not sure that how effective that would be, given that we did a mailing for this one and the number of applicants that we received was not what we thought it would be.
Could we also post them in like the HOAs? I know we got 6 of them.
I mean, I do for, you know, I send the information to the HOA that I have access to. I've also sent the information to Judge Sylvania Woods School, Glenarden Woods, all the avenues that I know I've sent out through. So I think we should make every avenue available, but I think motivating people, it's going to take a lot for council members need to reach out to people.
And Councilman Herring, if we could probably have just that announcement at Glenarden Day on Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. Next up, Council.
Did we confirm the September 30th?
Yeah, September 30th
Oh,
is
okay.
the extension. Councilman Guillaume.
One second, Councilman Herring. Council President, I'm trying to get an echo off. Hold on. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to quickly just hop on and just make a quick statement about the vile and disgusting and disrespectful comments that have been made about Haitian people recently, specifically coming out of Ohio and coming out of the presidential candidate, one particularly from the former president of the United States and his running mate. I, as an elected official who bleeds Haitian blood, I think it's important for me to stand with my other Haitian brothers and sisters and also stand in solidarity with those who are not of Haitian descent, but who have reached out to me on various platforms to denounce what has been stated. One of the beautiful things about this city that we live in right now is there are Haitian people in this city besides myself, and I have felt nothing but warmth and love and a welcoming spirit. And to me, it is really, really appalling to see and to hear all that has been coming out thus far regarding, can you all hear me?
Speak up a little bit, or Mr. Gray, if you could turn it up a little bit, that'd be great.
Can you hear me now?
It's the same level.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm going to have to yell. So I apologize to anybody who's hearing me scream right now. It's not my intent. But I just want to say that in light of all that has been happening in regard to the Haitian people in particular, I know some people were putting jokes out there, memes, GIFs, or whatever they're called, in regards to the absurdity of the comments. But at the same time, I would push for those things to also stop, because while it is intended to probably make a mockery of what was stated, it still gives the person who is saying it a platform to continue to push forth these debunked rumors. And I want to also say that the majority of the Haitian refugees and migrants that have come into this country today, they have come through TPS status. They're here through TPS status. And as far as why should America care about Haiti and Haitians in particular, Haiti did not get to where it's at right now because of things that they did. What Haiti did do was become the very first and most successful Black Lives Matter movement in the world. Haiti fought for its independence, and it also fought for the US's independence. And Haiti became poor because of the United States trying to make it a slave colony, and France also making them pay reparations for their own freedom. Haiti had to pay the United States over $936 million in 1915 just to be recognized. And Haiti had to pay France in 1825, 20 billion with the B dollars. So when folks look at Haiti and look at how poor Haiti is, look at it in the context of they're being penalized for being Black and daring to be free. So that's all I have to say. And again, I stand in solidarity with my Haitian brothers and sisters, and for those who are not Haitian descent, but who are standing with us as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Guillaume. All right. Now we're going to administrative reports. So I've already alerted the head departments that we will just ask questions if we have them of each person, of each report. So are there any comments or questions related to the mayor's report?
Mr. President, the citizens may not have gotten a report, so they should know what we're asking questions on, or at least get an overview of what the report is from the department head and from the administration. Everybody doesn't get this report, or everybody doesn't get their reports. We got them, yes. We can ask questions, but they may not know what's happening in their community because they're not hearing from their department heads or from the mayor or from the administration. So I think we should hear from each person on this agenda here.
So I just want to clarify, we do publish these reports, so they are available to the citizens. They're online. We make copies of it for people to pick up in-house, but if it's the will of the council, that's fine. It's, to be honest, just an attempt upon me to manage these meetings a little bit better, to cut down on the length of time. But if it's the will of the council, if there's 4 members who would like to have each member do a presentation, then we'll go that route. So is there a second to have the members read their reports? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on with the new outlook. If there are any questions of the mayor's report?
I do have a question. Again, I am going to say I do think it's a disservice to the citizens in this community who do not have social media and who do not have access to come up here and walk up these stairs to get a copy of a paper report that's not mailed out to them. It's their government, and they should know what's going on in their government. Us sitting here asking questions on a report that they know absolutely nothing about, I don't think it's fair to them. But I do have a question for the chief.
So just a second. So you don't have any for the mayor's report? Because I want to go down the line.
Oh, you want to go down the line?
Yeah.
I thought you just wanted to just throw them out there like we did the work session.
But it's fine.
I don't have anything.
We can do the police department next since he's up here. But if there last call for the mayor's report, hearing none, then we'll go straight to the police report.
Yeah. Chief, I guess my concern is I heard on the I wasn't at the work session, but I heard on a work session where they were talking about speed bumps, and you were saying that there's no speeding issue in Ward 1, which surprised me because they start speeding from 704 till they get to Delwood, and they run every stop sign in between. And just today I was outside and they just like zooming all over the place. There's like, I mean, is there any traffic control or speed control being done in Ward 1? I mean, they are like, it's like a raceway. They had these mufflers on these cars. They're zooming up and down the street. They're running every stop sign in Glenarden. And so I'm just asking, you said it wasn't, you implied it wasn't a speeding issue in Ward 1, but it is. It's a major issue. Also, the strip mall up there with A1, where the tobacco store is, I got complaints about that. I got complaints about the drug sales. I got complaints about them selling Lucy's, which is against the law. The tobacco stores are selling individual cigarettes, which is against the law, what they call Lucy's. At both of them, at all three of them. This is a problem for me because, again, Ward 1 has a lot of children in there, and these people are just speeding. That is no more, like there's no tomorrow. Also, yeah, I mean, it's just, and like I said, just that area up there is just getting bad, and I'm hoping that it gets taken care of real quick. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yes, during the work session, they were talking about speed bump in particular. So what I meant by Ward 1, as far as speed bump areas, I didn't identify the areas specifically for the speed bumps in the area, but they're speeding all through the wards 1, 2, and 3. So let me just clarify that. So I had my sergeant go out to all 3 wards and talk to the officers to get areas of concentration for each ward where we'd be concentrating our efforts in reference to speeding. But that particular night, they were talking about speed bumps. So when they was talking about speed bumps, I didn't specifically know any specific area where there are speed bumps. But yeah, they are speeding in all the wards. Matter of fact, they had an accident where car speeding and hit a tree over by the apartments over there in Ward 1. So I just wanted to clarify that. So we have identified areas and officers doing traffic enforcement in all 3 wards. So I wasn't singling out one ward over another. So the clarifications on that. In reference to A1 and the other stores with the Lucy's and stuff, officers, they go over there and stuff, so I have a lieutenant follow up on that. Thanks for that information, because I was unaware of the Lucy's and stuff. I know there's one guy that hang out over there, caused a lot of problems all the time. He just got in a fight with his friend and got cut pretty badly week before last, and refused to press charges. Go by the nickname of Hondo. Yeah, so we are familiar with him and his antics over there and so forth. So, but I will have a lieutenant follow up in reference to the Lucy's and so forth, and I'll get with code enforcement, Mr. Green, in reference to enforcement, because I know we had enforcement prior to Mr. Green coming here in reference to the stores selling unauthorized stuff like knives and all that type of stuff at these stores, and selling stuff during the late hours and stuff like that. So I'll be working with him on that and make sure that we enforce at these stores and stuff. But any information you guys get in reference to it, just make sure we get the information so we can follow up on it, and so I can get the information, follow back up with you guys, and let y'all know the results of what we did in reference to it.
I have a question. Is it red speed? Where are we with that? Because I know we talked about their ability to negotiate with the state to get speed cameras on 704.
Right.
Where are we with that?
Right, so it's 7 steps in reference to that they had to go through with the state. They're in the process of the 7th step now. They just completed the 6th. I found out about that at the Chiefs a conference I attended last week, because I did ask about that. So I'll be following up with Mr. Lanier on Thursday to see his latest update. But he said this is the first municipality where they haven't had problems going through all 7 steps to get speed signs erected through the state. So I'll find out from him Wednesday for sure where we are. But the first 6 steps went very smoothly as far as the city of Glenard is concerned with 704. So
Okay.
I'll give you guys an update.
And how about other areas outside of 704 where we don't need the steps?
Well, that's the main holdup. So when you talk about Bright Seat Road and everything else, we're good to go within the limits of Glen Arden as far as we're concerned within our city limits. Because 704 is a state highway, that's what we had to deal with the state highway administration.
So is the plan to do it all at once, or is the plan to do it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because they be coming, putting equipment out and stuff. So they come out and start erecting all the areas that we identified.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could we put a speed camera on Glen Arden Parkway or Sir Michael, even though the streets aren't turned over?
I think Glenarm Parkway is. Glenarm Parkway was dedicated when it was originally built. So you'll find the Glenarm Parkway.
All the way through Whitmore?
All the way through Whitmore to Sir Michael.
Okay. So we can definitely then, if that's the case, we could put speed bumps on Glen Arden.
You could put a speed bump on Glenarm Parkway.
Okay.
Well, we already identified on Glenard
Right.
Parkway, especially on going between 2nd and 3rd Street, needing a speed bump, and some other areas that were identified. And also the speed camera, the one that was at the library, is that one going to be reinstated?
Oh, no, by the library?
It was down by the library.
Yeah, and the ones on Bright Street Road.
Yeah, because they are really, that's the open
Almost
highway
definitely.
now.
Yeah.
Just-
And, yeah. So, and once again, the clarifications, because after the meeting, especially with Ward 1, I just wanted to make sure we were clear on that, as far as they're speeding areas in all locations and stuff, so I wanted to correct that. So I did talk to the sergeant the next day and have him go out and identify locations for us in Ward 1, Ward 2, and Ward 3. So he did get those areas for me. But that particular night, we're talking about the speed bumps, so I was unable to specifically say where in Ward 1 for speed bumps.
While we're on the topic of speed bumps, I was going to ask you, but since we're on a topic, then I know you and Jordan said you guys are going to come back with some more information. Have you guys looked into that further?
Yeah, it does appear that we can't avoid some type of either adhesive or nailing or drilling down. So the question would be, would that be acceptable? And then have repairs done immediately. So we're talking maybe, I don't know, 2-inch diameter to be able to spike the speed bumps down, the temporary ones, and then pull them back up, and you just fill them back up. Again, I don't know, considering the discussions.
Yeah, just to bring Councilman Herring up to date on this. So we had this in the work session, and so they've identified temporary speed bumps to remove, but for them to be impactful, they have to drill to hold it down. As you can imagine, the cars going over it. And so the question I had was it necessary, or are there any others? But it looks like, and I can imagine that with the weight of a car and the speed of a car, that they will move if they weren't kind of weighted down or drilled down. But
no, I mean, the ones I looked at have anchors. So you put the anchors into the ground and you screw them in, because you're going to have to take them up in the wintertime no matter what. It cannot be down in the wintertime because snow plows will push them right up.
Oh.
So they're going to have to come up. But the ones that I looked at have anchors. You put the anchors in, and when you're not using them, you take them out. Anchors stay there. It doesn't mess up your blacktop. And then when you're ready to put them back down, you put them back down and anchor them back in.
But
if you take the anchors out, then you got to repair the patch.
You definitely will have to drill in or use some sort of industrial strength adhesive to be able to keep them in place. Recommendation is similar to what Councilman Herring just mentioned, to either anchor them with, and I believe Jordan provided some information. I'll make sure you have it. I also spoke with our current contractor, NZI, as it relates to speed bumps, considering they do that. The same information that's been stated. So there will be some construction that has to go into the street. It's nominal, small, but it will disturb the street.
can we, with the, I don't know if we can, with the highway user funds and some other funds, identify areas that we could put permanent speed bumps? So if Glen Arden Parkway is in fact touchable heading into Woodmore, we may not be able to touch Sir Michael, but at least for Glen Arden Parkway in the areas that you talked about, Councilwoman Jones, all the way heading up to Sir Michael, we can look at something that's permanent. I mean, is the council open to that? If it's cost, if we have the funds, right, with the highway user funds. I know you have some things, some sidewalk stuff that you want to do. But if we can look into it to see if we can cover the cost with the funds that we have, is anyone opposed to addressing those concerns with a permanent solution as opposed to the temporary pilot program?
I mean, let me just say the history that when we put them down before in Glen Arden, they put permanent down and people hit the roof. So that's why I was saying temporary speed bumps throughout some of Glen Arden, because they may want, you may be ready for them on Glen Arden Parkway. People may not really mind. If they're ready for them, they're ready for them. But I know when they put them down in my street years ago, people hit the roof. They didn't like them. They wanted them up. The snow plows didn't know how to plow the snow. It was just a mess. So it took them all up like 6 months later or something like that. So, I mean, it all depends on what the citizens, that's why I'm saying temporary, because if the citizens want to squawk, we ain't no need us putting them down if they want to come back up.
I don't believe, particularly the people in Woodmore, are going to squawk about that. I think they're ready for it. I mean, if they could get some on Sir Michael, they would get some on Sir Michael as well. But since we can't, I think Glenarden Parkway is a great way to start. There's already been one, I mean, like in Ward 1, there's a police chase and some car crashed to a house. But without a police chase, a car crashed into a home on Glenarden Parkway.
Once they get through the circle, they fly up to Sir Michael. I see that.
Yeah. So I don't know if. So we can look into it. Is there any? Want to check with? I know I'm at large, but Councilwoman Fareed, did you want to weigh in on this, or you're fine with the permanent solution, at least for Glenarden Parkway?
Yes, I'm fine with it.
All right.
I just think we need to identify the area, make it, solidify the identity of the areas that we want to put them in.
Oh yeah, definitely. So we'll look into that. We'll come back with the cost of putting them down and identify where we could put them down. I know, particularly, I think we have a green light on Glenarden Parkway, but we'll go back if there's any areas in Ward 1.
What do you think about that area, Hayes Street and
that's horrible.
Hayes Street and Fisk, where they come about when they come around that corner, where the brick wall is.
Very dangerous.
They need to put a speed bump right there, or between Carter Avenue and Hayes Street.
Yeah, because
So
the
we
buses
got
fly up and down that street too.
You have that? Another thing is, so with, and I don't know if this is the same case for Sylvania Woods, but with the debacle of the whole busing from last year, I think there are more people who are parent pickups, and that's causing a lot of traffic jam. I know on Glenarden Parkway by Glenarden Woods. I'm not too sure about Sylvania Woods. I would imagine it's probably the same, but I mean, there are buses that will block all 4 directions just to,
Yeah, I know they got a better system this year than they had last year.
No, they don't have a better system this year.
Well, from talking to PLC Tail, who's up there every day, that's the information he gave me. So I'll check with him again tomorrow.
Thank you.
Just for the traffic jam, because it's.
Yeah, I'll check with him tomorrow because he's out there every morning. So.
He does. The morning's not the problem. It's the afternoon that's the problem. And so when I go up there to pick up my son, he does a great job with helping with the walk-ups. But he's only one man. He's managing that area. It's when you exit on Glenarden Parkway, that whole area is congested, traffic jam, kids trying to cross the street around the buses. They have to go around the cars because the cars are in the walkway and things like that.
All right, that's cool.
They don't have the officer to be there?
The officers is helping on the other side.
I'm talking about the patrol, that they used to have a person, like, not the kids are the safety patrol, but then they had this other main officer that used to be there, years ago.
But he's further up in the development, helping with another crosswalk. I mean, when I tell you, it's
You talking about Glenarden Woods right there?
Glenarden Woods, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So
we look at it tomorrow.
Too, if they had.
They need volunteers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. Sorry to prolong that.
Council President, my hand is up.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Councilwoman Gill.
No, it's okay. Just to be clear, because I was hearing an echo, are we saying yes as far as the temporary speed bumps are concerned for streets like Glenarden Parkway and Sir Michael Place? Because those were the ones that pertain to the whole D.R. Horton, HOA stuff, and I know you actually remember read, but I wanted to make sure you heard correctly what was stated.
Okay, so good point. So we're saying yes to a permanent solution on Glenarden Parkway. We just have to check.
Wait, Council President, can you repeat that? You were low for a second.
Okay, we're saying yes to a permanent solution on Glenarden Parkway because we can work on that street. Sir Michael is still under D.R. Horton, but that brings up the question of the temporary solution. Could we do that on that street? I didn't even think about Sir Michael, the temporary solution.
Yeah, it's really, really bad over there.
Um,
I mean, I don't know if you can disturb the streets until they're turned over.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So even if it's temporary?
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah, because they have to drill into them.
Okay.
And so if we do any drill on Sir Michael, then it might be a problem.
Okay.
Okay. So, and if, let's just reach out to the attorney just to cover our tracks.
Yeah. And I'm sorry. I should have clarified when we were talking about Glen Arden Parkway that this is the portion outside of Woodbine Town Center, because the portion within is the same situation as Sir Michael. That part has not been turned over.
Actually, I think the part inside Wilmore has been dedicated already to the city of Glen Arden. That was originally done when we did the DSP, to have Glen Arden Parkway at the circle all the way up to Sir Michael dedicated to the city. Originally, when they approved the detailed site plan back in 18 or whatever it was.
Okay, then can we confirm that? Because that's what's been our holdup. We wanted to put things, other mitigation efforts there, but that was our understanding that portion of Glen Arden Parkway was not yet turned over. I don't know who gave the DSP. I was not able to get a copy.
Can we check that? Yeah. DSP. Thanks. All right. So we'll do our due diligence, check everything, and everything checks out, move forward. All right.
I have one more question for the chief.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Chief Bryant, our SRO, Officer Taylor, we only have one SRO?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm not sure if all of the council knows that this is what his function is. So can we bring him in one meeting and have him introduce himself and tell us a little bit about what he does as an SRO?
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great.
So that we'll know when issues come up that we can if we can contact him about issues and just what he does as an SRO.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. He's been doing a great job for the past year. And we even got money allocated because we didn't have an Explorers program, so we allocated money to have him assist with the 3 schools. And he's been doing an outstanding job. He gives me a weekly report every week with what happens at the school and stuff. So I'll have him come in next month at the meeting and talk to you all. All right?
I mean, if this is the pleasure of the council.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Chief.
All right.
Are there any questions related to code enforcement?
Oh, I have.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. 8737. I might have the address wrong. The house across from the library. What's the status on that?
We just came back from court on September the 6th, and the appeals that the property on the file was dismissed by the circuit court judge. The judge has sent it back down to the district court, and what we're waiting on now is for the dismissal to be registered with the district court, and the city's attorney Karpinski is going to let us know when the city can actually initiate the abatement process.
Okay, because I just had a friend of mine was with me riding on Saturday, and we were just having to ride by, and he said, "What in the hell is?" I said, "We're working on it." So,
absolutely, we're very close. I mean, even once we get the permission for abatement, we do anticipate that we may still meet some resistance, but we will again have the abatement order. We'll be working with the police department, and we'll put a plan of action in place.
Okay. No, and it's not that I'm trying. I know this is going to take time, and it's a delicate issue. So we need to, follow every step and cross every T and dot every I.
Correct.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We're going to combine the city manager and treasurer report as council members know that the treasurer's out on leave. So if there are any questions for the city manager on his report or the treasurer report, the floor is open. No? All right, hearing none. All right, we'll go on to citizens' comments, I believe. Yes, we'll open the floor. I see your hand. Open the floor for citizens' comments. If you're, I see your hand too. If you're in the building, please raise your hand as you have done so I'll call you in order. If you're online, if you're a Glen Arden resident online and would like to speak, please raise your virtual hand and I'll call on you. I've already identified 3. Please state your name and what ward you're from, and you'll have 5 minutes. With that being said, Mr. Cross.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. I'd like to agree with Councilman Herring on the mayor and all of the department chairs should have to read their reports to report to the citizens and the council because they're by law and inside the called the Constitution of the city. Their bylaw, they have to read it present it to the citizens and give it to the people. Like what Herring was saying, a lot of people don't have the social media. They can't get to it. They can't get here. But in turn, you read through every single resolution today, verbatim. But yet you couldn't read through the resolution last week to save time. But we could not read through all of the reports verbatim today. So that seems like a conflict of trying to save time, seeing that you drug on this meeting with different things by dragging out different questions, adding on to things to drag it out. But last week, you rushed it as fast as possible to get people out of here and make sure that people couldn't come in a little bit later to support the council or support the mayor on different resolutions that came forward for the police department or even for the resolution R-09 for no confidence in the mayor. And speaking on that resolution, it's still a lot of falsities in here. It's a lot of he say, she say in here. There's a lot of things stating that I, Mario Cross, the husband of Mayor Kashina A. Cross, who is the owner of Cross Entertainment, what does this say? Compensation for an event in a Go Room. Compensation is for service rendered. What service has Cross Entertainment rendered inside of the Go Room? And any communications that was done was through a estimate. There was no contract put in place. There's nothing put in place for staffing. There's nothing put in place for personnel that will be working events. This was a estimate for what the city can possibly afford. Cross Entertainment prices are not in the city's budget. So what you're coming forth with saying that the mayor tried to incite to get money for her husband for compensation of services rendered, because that's what compensation is a falsity. And false imprisonment. The only false imprisonment was done by Council President Curtis by keeping the mayor inside of a room and not letting her out against her will. That's the false imprisonment that was conducted. You can go back and look at the court cases. So anything that the council president is stating about the information being false, look at the court case. He can give you the court number and you can look it up and read all the information of what the judge said according to what the witness that was in the room with them stated, who is not here to defend herself either. And which lawyer wrote this? Was it Kevin Kopinski or Kevin Best? Because this has a lot of legal jargon that you guys don't usually put inside your resolutions. And it was even a couple of symbols that someone didn't know what they were, and it had to be whispered to how to describe what those symbols meant. So the information that you've given these lawyers, one or the other or possibly both, to create this resolution, they made this on false information that they were given by the council to be able to conduct their report to push forward. So it would be nice to know which lawyer actually made this resolution. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Mario Cross, husband of Mary Cross. I'll just point out a couple things. One, the resolution was verified and written by an attorney. Two, had you shown up for that court hearing, because you were not there, because there was no one there in support of the mayor, the witness did testify that nothing ever happened. Please check out the court case. And this goes to just people not reading just available information that's up there, just getting up here and just saying what they want to say and not verifying what's truth and what's not true. The mayor was never held against her will. You should ask her to tell you the truth. And the witness that was in there said the only one who was hostile was, in fact, the mayor. And then the judge proceeded to throw that case out because it had no merit, and that was a peace order, and then the criminal case was thrown out. So please check it. You can read it. It's simple. It's elementary. And that's, I don't have the energy to continue to go back and forth with all the false things that you just said, so I'll just let everything else fall on deaf ears. With that being said, secondhand I saw, okay, Mr. Powell.
Good evening. My name is Anthony Powell, and I live in Ward 1. This past summer, I worked in the extended school year program, which is a program for kids with special ed, kids that have ADHD, kids that have autism. And I worked at the Oxon Hill Elementary School with Ms. Walton, her daughter, Ms. Harrison.
Can you please turn your mic on?
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me start over. This past summer.
Your 5 minutes does not start over.
Okay, no problem.
Go ahead.
This past summer, I worked in the extended school year program, which is a program for kids with special needs. Kids who have autism, kids who have ADHD. I worked at the Oxon Hill Elementary School with Ms. Walton, her daughter, Ms. Harris, and myself, and we got along with one another. Nobody was fussing at one another. The kids got along with one another. Nobody was arguing. Nobody was fighting. So you can have a positive work experience, but we just don't have it here in Glen Arden. And that's the thing I don't understand. Y'all know each other and can't get along with one another. That's the problem. I'm saying if Ms. Cross was the only person that you can't get along with, that'd be a different story. But there's several people over the years that you couldn't get along with. When Mayor Estes was here, you couldn't get along with him. Ms. Jenkins, Ms. Pfeiffer, Ms. Diggs on the city council, you couldn't get along with them. So I don't understand. It's just a sign of a dysfunctional government that we, the citizens, are playing for a government where people cannot get along with one another. And I really just don't understand it. People get along in other places, they just can't get along here in Glen Arden. I just can't figure it out. I mean, like I said, every 4 weeks, people from different parts of the county come together and they extend the school year program. They don't know one another, and they work together and they get along with one another. Ain't nobody fussing, nobody's arguing with one another. But you can't have meetings here in Glen Arden where people can't get along with one another. And I just don't understand. We're paying property tax for dysfunction. So y'all have to work this out, because, I mean, all we ask you to do is do the job we pay you to do. Y'all can't do that straight. I can't do that right. So I just don't understand. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. So I just want to point out, I don't think there was any arguing or going back and forth up here. Certainly there are certain members who, no, please sit down, Mr. Powell, who disagree. And we may debate something, but not one time did anyone up here argue. Then we didn't yell at each other. And so I think during some of the administrations that you mentioned, Mr. Powell, and one of those, I think I was serving in the Peace Corps in Togo, West Africa, so I wasn't even here to argue with anybody. I agree that the government should work for people, and I think we've done tremendous work this term to get things done, whether it be the Intergenerational Poverty Fund, whether it be these tutoring services or 7th Street Park. Mr. Herring and Councilmember Harrison has produced several good legislation for the community that is positively affected. The expungement theory that Councilman Harrison and Councilmember Herring does, that cancer awareness, even the mayor has had the autism awareness thing here, where despite disagreements, there were council members and the mayor that was there. So we have done things in the city of Glenarden, and we look forward to continue to build on that, but we can only control what happens in our term in office. I can't control what happened before us. But I appreciate your comments, Mr. Powell.
Mr. President, may I right quick add to that? And I just want to say that, this council has pushed through millions of dollars that they've given back to the city in the form of rebate programs and in the form of, like say parks. Right now, we're figuring out how to spend $4 million that we can provide services to the city, and that's what this council has done with no input from the mayor. And the problem you have is that we're all human, and when someone comes to the mic and defames somebody like Mr. Cross just did with the council president, because everything he said was not true, because if it was true, this council president would not be sitting here, he'd be locked up somewhere, but he's not. So I think that's where the problem comes in at. Because again, you got to respect the person. The mayor made her accusation, the judge threw it out. That was it. But then you want to come to the mic and sit here and bring that up there and say it was true and it wasn't true. That's where the problem comes in, because everybody up here is human. Everybody has feelings, and nobody's going to sit there and let somebody continue to defame them, because what you're doing is basically defaming them, which can land you in court. Because, again, putting that information out there that is completely false, it's not cool. It's not cool at all. You shouldn't do that. All right, thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Harry. Ms. Alita?
Good evening, everyone. Mayor Cross and the council members. Good evening. I just kind of want to piggyback off of the last resident's comment. I feel differently, and I respect your opinion. We all have a right to our opinion, but the things that I have seen this council do in the last 3 years, I have truly benefited from one of them. And I wasn't getting up here to even talk about that, but I'm a person who had symptoms from long COVID, and it had me out of work for over 2 years. Towards the end stretch of that, I was on leave without pay. I'm a single mom with 2 kids. The resolution that was put in for anyone that was affected by COVID made the difference between me being able to feed my kids, pay my bills, and maintain until I was allowed to go back to work and released from my doctor's care. So again, I thank you. They may not always agree, but I have seen the council agree to disagree. The mayor of Glenarden has done great things in this city as well. Are there things that could have been better? I I myself have gotten up here and said greater is available, and all I wanted to see was everybody work together. But in order for everyone to work together, egos got to go. Everybody got to come together. I mean, I think definitely it could have been greater than what it is right now, but there has been a lot of things that have happened in this city that have been voted in, and resolutions that have assisted many of Glenarden residents. And so for that, I thank each and every one of you. But what I wanted to speak about was the speed bumps for Ward 1. Councilman Herring mentioned those stop signs on Glenarden Parkway on Ward 1 mean absolutely nothing. Now, I have a child that crosses over that street, and even before I had a child that crosses over that street, I'm always watching. It's so bad that even one of the school buses going up to Glenarden Woods Elementary went around me because I stopped at the stop sign. Yes. Today, a car blew. I was at the stop sign. I had the right of way. A car came straight down and blew right through. I could clearly see that intersection. Something needs to happen before something happens. That situation, that Glenarden Parkway, Johnson Avenue, Glenarden Parkway, Fisk, Glenarden Parkway, Calker, Glenarden Parkway, Echoes, Glenarden Parkway, Dalewood. It's a raceway all the way down. The stop signs mean absolutely nothing. And I'm afraid that someone is going to get hurt. You have seniors, you have mothers pushing strollers, walking their kids up to Judge Woods. And I mean, it's like you got to move quick in that intersection. Even though it's a crosswalk, I don't know if we could put the flashing lights on the stop signs or do some type of police thing where they're sitting there. Maybe that will catch the repeat offenders. I don't know what we can do, but something definitely has to happen on that side as well. And also the streets going back to Judge Woods, you know, that traffic back there, and I mean, the kids are trying to walk. A friend of mine that lives on Polk Street, her daughter had to jump back on a curve because she didn't see anything coming, and then all of a sudden a car came flying down there in the morning on her way walking to Judge Sylvania Woods. I also wanted to mention that when we speak of the schools that service our children, we never mention Duval High School, which is a high school feeder school, community school for the residents in Ward 1. We don't mention Duval. So my question is, there's back to school night on Wednesday, and I'm going to take this information regarding the uniforms and the tutor information, because some of those kids in Glenarden who, you know, they live in Glenarden and attend Duval High School, but are they aware that this is available for them? I know we talk about Judge Woods, we talk about Glenarden Woods Elementary, which I don't consider a community school anymore because it's a tag school, but I know we have some kids that attend there. We have Ernest Just, we have kids that feed into Ernest Just, we have kids that feed into Kenmore Middle School, Flowers, and Duval. And we actually have kids that attend Largo for the international high school. So we have a lot of different schools in Glenarden that our kids are zoned to attend. That might be it. Thank you all for helping the police department, getting them their cars and getting them the tools that they need, because it seems like crime is picking up and we need to take crime down. I heard about the incident at the 7-Eleven, heard about someone's house getting broken into. I see drug deals right in front of my face sitting at the light trying to come out of my community at that tobacco store right there. I see them at A1. So if I'm seeing them, hey, it's a problem. It's a problem. And I'm going to speak and I'm going to be verbal. I don't care if people don't like it. I live here in this city and we don't want it. We don't need the drug activity, because along with the drug activity comes the crime. We don't want it. I think that's all I had. Yeah, that's all I had. Thank you all.
All right, thank you. Are there any other citizens' comments? Online? Okay, hearing none, I'll give the floor to Councilmember Herring.
Yeah, I just want to invite everyone out to Glenarden Day this Saturday, September 21st. The flyers you should have received your flyer in the mail. It should be a really good event. It's going to be bigger than it was before. We're going to have the rides. We're going to have the food. It's all free. Of course, we're going to have the seniors' favorite sport, bingo, and the paint and sip. If you want to do paint and sip, please call Michelle Cheeks to make reservations, or you can call our council clerk also, 301-322-1473. I want to thank the council again for financing this, putting the money up to do this event. This is the 4th year, and actually this will be the last Glenarden Day for this sitting council. We have an election next year. So, just come on out and enjoy yourselves. I do want to thank Parks and Recreation. We were able to get a grant to pay for it, actually. So it's free to the city. We were able to get $50,000 to cover the expense of the event. So it's basically no money out of your pocket. We had a little bit of money out of your pocket because everybody wanted a funnel cake truck. So we're going to get a funnel cake truck. Oh, and also we're going to have a mobile barber who's going to come out here and cut heads. Please call Michelle Cheek for that too. She'll give you to make a reservation. So it's a lot of events going on this year that we didn't have last year. Entertainment is going to be EU featuring Sugar Bear. That should be a hit. We're going to have some local talent, and we have a little dance troupe that's going to come out with 10 to 12-year-old dancers. So, come on out and enjoy yourself. It should be a great time for everybody. Again, this Saturday, September 21st, 11 to 6 p.m. All right. Thank you.
Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Herring. Yes, Councilwoman Gill?
One other thing, too. I do want to thank...
One second.
Yeah, I do want to thank my co-chairs, Councilwoman Kat Guillaume and Councilman Maurice Hairston. Those are my co-chairs, as well as our committee. We have a committee, and I'll introduce them all at the event. I'm just tired tonight, but those two really helped me out. And again, we can't do it without a team effort. A city manager, a police chief, public works department, everybody's pulling together. The city council, because they always help out. They'll jump in whenever I need some help. So appreciate everybody's assistance. Thank you.
All right, Councilman Guillaume.
Thank you, Councilman Herring, and thank you, Council President. I do see a citizen's hand is up, so I'll just be quick. Going back to the $50,000 grant that Councilman Herring just mentioned about Glenarden Day, since my time serving on the Glenarden Day Committee, this is something that is a first. And I just wanted to commend the chair of the committee for being able to procure that amount of funding. I think it was a few days ago when it was on the floor, and myself, Council Vice President Ferguson, who wasn't on the committee, she was trying to hunt Councilman Herring down. I was trying to hunt him down, but all in all, we are blessed to be able to actually be seen in a positive light and to actually get that type of sizable contribution. So I want to thank the chair for even trying to go out there and procuring those amount of funds. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so technically citizens' comments are through, but we'll go back to capture the last two, and there'll be Mr. Richard Arroyo Montgomery and it looks like Ms. Crutchfield. Those two will be the last comments. Mr. Arroyo Montgomery?
All right, thank you, Council President. Can you hear me?
Clear.
Okay, thank you. I was trying to get my hand up. I just couldn't get to the feature in time, so I apologize for that. But thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I just wanted to go on record as a citizen of the city of Glenarden. Wanted to go on record just to state that I am in support of the no vote for the mayor. No confidence in the mayor. I think that is an action that is overdue, actually. It's unfortunate that we're here once again with another mayor, but it is what it is at this point. Council had to do what they had to do, and I just want to go on the record to say, of course, that I support, this resolution. Also, as a resident, I just want to point out that I heard some mentions of schools. The one school that I did not hear was Kingsford Elementary, and I know we have a lot of kids in our community that attend Kingsford Community. So if we can get some information over to Kingsford as well, that would be great. If I can help in any way to get that information there, please let me know, and I'm more than happy to do so. Lastly, on behalf of the Whitmore Town Center HOA, I speak for them at this point. We would appreciate any actions that the city can take with regards to speed bumps on Glenarden Parkway. We all know that Glenarden Parkway has been just a raceway. You know, it's really bad. I mean, you know, we've had an accident where a car has ran into a tree, you know, right? If the tree wasn't there, they would have ran into the homeowner's home there. We've had another incident where somebody ran into somebody's home back on Smithview. And so any action that the city can take with regards to speed bumps on Glenarden Parkway will be greatly appreciated, not just by the HOA, but also by the citizens of, you know, the residents at Whitmore Town Center, specifically those that live directly on Glenarden Parkway. You know, since those, you know, there are a lot of kids on that street as well. And you know, kids cross Glenarden Parkway all the time to go back and forth to school because there's those are the kids from Kingsford, because there's a bus that stops right at Sir Michael and Geaton. So kids cross back and forth all the time. And again, anything that can be done expeditiously to address the speed issues on Glenarden Parkway would be greatly appreciated. Council, thank you for everything you have done. You guys have done a lot for the city in this term, and it is not taken for granted, and it is greatly appreciated. Thank you, and good night to everyone.
Thank you. Ms. Crutchfield.
Hello, and good evening. I apparently arrived in town. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so, you know, I'm a little concerned. First and foremost, this no confidence in the mayor, and it's not personal. It's that, and you all have heard me say time and time again, the unity from day one. And it looks bad. Number one, I believe it looks bad for you all for the simple fact that this is the second time that you all have had no confidence, not you all specifically, but in the Glenarden community, had no confidence in the mayor or put the mayor aside, which is not a good look. It's not a good look. What is the council doing that the mayors have not been able to do their job? So with that being said, if you ask me, that's not a good look for the council. It's not a good look. Why didn't you let the mayor ride out her time and then let the citizens vote and then have their decision? Why are we putting no confidence again in a mayor? What is the mayor not doing or have not done that there's no confidence? Yes, I heard different things. Yes, I heard from you all. But my point is this. Where is the unity in this community? When is it going to happen? This has been going on. How long you all been in the seat? And then the years before that, I put my confidence in all of you all when I voted for you. But now I'm looking at you differently. I don't quite understand what's behind the scenes, but it's just not a good look for Glenarden. I don't know what else to say, but I'm disappointed. I mean, even the citizens should have stood up. All the citizens say, hey, we want confidence in everyone. We want to trust in all of you all. But where's the trust? Where's the trust? There's no trust in the council. That's just my take on it.
Is that all, Ms. Crutchfield?
Oh, I can say more. I can go on and on, but I mean, I'm just trying to figure out. Let me know. The question is, what confidence that I can say I have in anyone at this point? If we don't have a mayor the second year, The second time, not year, that this has happened. What is going on in the council? That's my question. I'm done.
Thank you, Ms. Crutchfield. Again, I can't speak for what happened in previous councils. I was not a council member. Ms. Crutchfield, did you read the resolution?
You know, I have not read it tonight, but I have read the previous, not tonight. I can't say I read it tonight because I forgot about the meeting. But I have read the resolution. I have.
Because everything is in the resolution. But thank you, Ms. Crutchfield. All right. With that being said, Vice President Ferguson.
Good evening. I wanted to address the issue about the education grant with the uniforms. That grant is eligible for any eligible child in the city of Glenarden. It's not saying that they have to go to Glenarden Elementary or they have to go to Ardmore or Sylvania Woods. If they are a citizen of Glenarden and they attend a school, they might go to Riverdale First Baptist or just like some of the other schools that have been mentioned. But if they are a resident of the city of Glenarden and they have uniforms, or if they need tutoring service, their parents would fill out the application and show proof that they are in a registered school. And so it's not just us not being mindful of Kingsford or Duval or Flowers. So it's the parents that have to fill out the applications. And also every resident, every household was sent a flyer. So, and everybody's welcome to actually inform the school that their children go to as well. The other thing I wanted to address was the last statement from the citizen. As far as even the last mayor, he was indicted. He committed a crime that had nothing to do with us. So, and then the other terms, or I'm not taking responsibility for that. The other thing I find very, I don't even know what to call it, but I mean, oftentimes, Miss, you come on here and you have not even read the resolution, and you have a lot to say, and you come sporadically, and we would need more. You do say some things that are very good, but you know, if you would support more, a lot of times you might see certain things. The other thing I want to address is that I'm not one to sit up here and cause any confusion or lying, and I would not think that any attorney would write any type of document without first fact-checking. Mr. Cross, I don't know what you know, what you don't know, but everything in that document is true. The thing that that I find that's amazing is that we as a council, we do not do things, throw people under the bus or have victim mentalities. Yes, to have to censor and do a no confidence for a mayor or anyone, any elected official, is not a good look. But it's just like anything else. If you have a child and you reprimand them, at some point you can't continue to let people do things. I mean, it's more to what has happened in that censor and in that no confidence than which y'all would ever know. It's a lot of things that have taken place. I can run down things that happened even before the mayor was even sworn in. Funds of money that was spent to get her, get her gala together. It should not have been that way. But nonetheless, that's neither here nor there. There's a lot, and it is embarrassing when you go to Maryland Municipal League and you're in Shoppers or you're in Aldi's or wherever, and people come up, what's going on in Glenarden? What are you doing to your mayor? This, that, and the other. But I was almost reluctant to go to the conference this summer. because I go there to take my training, not to be confronted about what we're doing to the mayor or why can't we get along. And by the way, there are a lot of municipalities that are, you look at their YouTube, literally, we're angels compared to them. And I would say that directly to you, Mr. Powell. But fortunately this year, when I went to MML, the whole thing had changed around. People were apologizing. They were saying different things because they had a different look on what was going on in Glen Arden. That's all I would say. But I'm just saying that I'm here to serve the people. I've been here since I was 2 years old for 59 years. Since 65 years. And I will say that I have seen a lot of terms come and go. And some people have been fighting. Well, I wasn't on that, but nonetheless, there's a difference in the atmosphere of how the things have been going in terms of the executive office. And it is hurtful. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, VP Ferguson. Councilman Guillaume?
Thank you, Council President. And I want to thank Council Vice President for literally saying almost everything that I would have wanted to say or that I was actually planning to say. I do want to say that I do find it as an insult that folks don't even read the materials, but then they come and point fingers at the council. Now, if you, again, read the materials and you see fault in what is being presented, then yes, absolutely, that is an opinion that I will always listen to and support. However, I find it very difficult to hear or receive commentary that is being pointed towards the council's direction in an accusatory manner when the part of their due diligence, which is the citizens' due diligence of reading and researching the materials that were presented for weeks to actually see why things were where they were or why things are the way they are. We did not vote a vote of no confidence before tonight. It was a censure tonight. A little over a year ago. Tonight is different. It's a vote of no confidence. But for me, I just find it interesting that, again, folks talk about unity and they say that they support all of us, but I have yet to see one meeting, not one meeting, where folks who claim that they're about unity have actually literally put their blind loyalty aside and challenge their friend. And to me, that's alarming because everything that I have done, I have made sure that I've done in decency and in order. And while the council doesn't always necessarily agree, and sometimes we don't act the way we're supposed to act, at least we amongst ourselves try to hold ourselves accountable. Now, it's very difficult to always have the last commentary to be what's wrong with the council and the person who's saying they're about unity when they are present in the physical form, meaning when they're in the actual chambers, they, meaning the citizen themselves, are talking about the council members. They've actually spoken about me and they storm out, but they don't know that there are people around them who are listening. And we can see from the days too. So let's be careful when we talk about unity and saying we want unity, when all people who are saying that they want unity, all they're doing is showing blind loyalty. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll just point one more thing out. I think there's a comment made to history, and though we weren't a part of history, we are actually saw a flaw, or not necessarily a flaw, saw an area that we can improve upon. And the people, we formed a committee called the Charter Review Committee. And out of that committee, changing the form of government to be inclusive of the mayor, because currently the mayor is not a part of the governing body, which may be the reason why historically in other terms, there may have been butting of heads because it's pretty much a strong council form of government. But the Charter Review Committee saw fit to eliminate that issue and include the mayor as part of the governing body. So now, once it's voted on, and I encourage people to come out to the public hearing on October 15th if you want to speak on it, the mayor will actually be able to have a voice. The mayor actually will lead the council, will be able to vote in meetings, will be able to present legislation, whereas the position of mayor cannot do that now. So speaking of history, that is something that this council, starting with the Charter Review Committee and the rest of the council, saw as a way to move forward and make this government a little bit more efficient moving forward. So again, October 15th will be that public hearing date. If Mr. Simpson, you guys can actually put that out there and come out and speak on your opinion on the change of government and the charter amendments that's being presented forth. With that, the time is 10:02. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.